Why do people hate SharePoint? My name's Dougie Wood and I'm a Microsoft MVP. I've been working with SharePoint for the past 15 years as a consultant, and I've heard every excuse under the sun of why people hate SharePoint. I'm going to be giving you my top 5 reasons I've heard and also what the fixes are to make sure that they're resolved. I cannot find what I'm looking for. This is probably one of the most common things I hear about a poorly configured SharePoint intranet. And essentially, it boils down to that the proper user experience has not been configured, as in different types of navigation, to make sure that it's really simple for users to find the information they need. So let's look at a couple of examples of that. So here we have a couple of examples. Now, this web part we have right at the top of the screen is a navigational web part known as the Hero web part. It's part of a lot of the default SharePoint sites that people use out of the box, but it can be configured to either show one or up to 5 tiles. We can control the background images as well as the text and the hyperlink of where they go to. But this is a fantastic navigational web part to help people navigate to where they need to. There's also web parts, and I'm blocking it slightly here, but like this quick links web part, we can use it for useful links to make sure it's easy for people to access what they need. Another example is what we refer to as a hub navigation bar. Now, the hub navigation bar is designed to be consistent throughout the whole intranet. So this navigation bar would appear on every single SharePoint site that is part of your SharePoint intranet. Typically, you can have up to 3 layers. So that, for example, is like departments, and then we've got HR, IT, finance, and then underneath HR, we have policies, leave request, and employee benefits. The reason being is you might have previously heard of this example before, where actually people don't want to click more than 3 times to find the content that they're looking for. So using that hub navigation bar, which is like a mega menu, will mean that it will streamline people's approach to finding content. Now, of course, all of this is useless unless you've actually properly understood your users of your intranet and what the types of content they're truly looking for and how they're finding that. Now, you can do this in a number of different ways, but before you build out your intranet, it's worth having workshops and a consultation with maybe some of the key sort of managers or people from different departments to understand what content they have and what content they're going to be looking for through the intranet. I should also mention that I'm going to link in the description below for each of these top 5 reasons a video which will help you fix it, and it'll explain in a lot more detail the problem and actually how you can resolve it yourself. The next is it's just a pile of documents, isn't it? Now, this is something which is obviously very frustrating for anyone who is passionate about SharePoint because you'll know that it's not just a big pile of documents. It's not just a direct replacement for a SharePoint server, a file server. It is actually a full intranet which has news, events, documents, and so much more types of materials, information, policies, procedures, marketing, branding materials, and so much more, all in one place. So going back to our example here, you can see that this intranet is not just about navigation, it's also got latest sort of news articles and carousels sliding around. It's got ways of finding information such as vision and values, career information, and benefits. It can also plug in third party applications or even Power Apps for things like expense requests. So, if we wanted to submit our expense request via our intranet, we can do this as well. We can see a roll up of news articles which can be tailored based on your location, your job role, and so much more. Same goes for events and other kind of things like rolling up most popular documents, recent documents, linking to key areas, calendars, celebrations, things like that. But essentially, what we're saying here is no, SharePoint is not just a big pile of documents. It's so much more than that. It has a whole wealth of features which make it a really beneficial employee engagement platform. I don't have access. I've heard this so many times before, and this comes down to shoddy permission management inside of SharePoint. Now, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to control permissions, but especially if you're starting a new intranet, it should be something that you're thinking about from day one. how you're going to control who has access to the different areas of SharePoint. SharePoint permissions are broken down into a number of different areas. Inside of site access, you can see we have site owners, site members, and site visitors. Really, you should only be focusing on site owners and site visitors, as in site owners has full control. They can do everything on the site. They can edit, they can upload, they can download, they can delete, and they can add and remove people from the SharePoint site. Site visitors have no control, but basically just means they have read-only access. They can read things and download things. So if you can put people into those different camps, it's going to make things a lot easier for you. Again, I have a video linked in the description which goes into way more detail about how to use SharePoint permissions. I cannot find the latest version of a document. Now, again, this is something that a lot of people get muddled up with, and it's actually one of the main benefits of why you should move from a file server or potentially a third-party document management system into SharePoint, is because it has a pre-built version control system that is there ready for you to use. You can just enable it and start using it. And what do I mean by version control? So let's jump in and take a look. So here's an example of a SharePoint document library, which has version control enabled. Now you can see I've got a list of my documents here on my IT help desk document library. And I've got, for example, here, configuring emails on mobile devices, how to create SharePoint folders, how to reset your password. Basically, these like self-help little knowledge guides and things like that. However, they are going to be maintained. They're going to be updated on a frequent basis. So this is where we want to have our version control enabled. Now, version control is often also applied to different types of documents like policies, procedures, and other things that you want to make sure that you're staying on top of. Now, version control means that we can control it with both minor and major versions. A minor version would be like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and then when you publish it, you can then go to a whole major version, which would be like 2.0. Now, we can also do cool things like we can hide the minor versions, as in the edits, the drafts of the document, from the typical end users. We were talking about the permissions before, as in having site owners and site visitors. You could make it so that only site visitors can see the latest published major version, rather than it being something that they can see every single edit, which is probably what the site owners should be seeing. Now, versions can be controlled by clicking on the cog across the top right-hand corner of our document library. This is where we can enable it. By clicking on library settings, that'll take us into the back end of the document library. Sorry, I just need to click on more library settings, actually. That'll take us into the back end of the document library. And then we have this version settings area here. Now, by default, your SharePoint document library won't have versioning enabled. So this is something you have to go in and turn on. Now, you can build in an approval process into this as well. Now, by checking this as yes, you will just get the out-of-the-box experience when it comes to the content approval, which is a little bit basic at this point in time. We have actually built bespoke control documents systems where we have approval processes which use Power Automate that can have multiple layers and stages in the approval process, as well as automated reminders and chasers and things like that. So you can build on top of your document library with Power Automate for additional features. Now, what we have here is it's saying, what do we want? Do we want to have major versions, or do we want to have major and minor versions? At the moment, I only have major versions enabled. So it's tracking like version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. Whereas if actually I wanted to have that kind of publishing feature so that actually I can have those draft versions, which only I and other editors can see, I can enable it like this. We can also see what kind of version time limit do we want to set. So we can say no time limit, as in versions won't be deleted based on their age, or we can say automatic. Versions are deleted over time based on activity and how long the file was created, or manual. So we can say only keep a certain amount of versions, and then after that, it's deleted. Now, the reason why you would want to maybe keep the following number of major versions is every version of the document counts towards the storage. So say, for example, you've got a 1 megabyte document. If you have 10 versions of that, you then have a 10 megabyte storage, even though you've just got that one document, because technically you have 10 versions of the document. So sometimes people enable this, they make it max out the amount of versions they have. They have 1,000 versions or so of each document, and then they wonder why all of a sudden they've got SharePoint storage issues. And that's something that quite often that we've helped people in the past before, is to either resolve it by lowering the amount of versions, which brings the SharePoint storage down, or purchasing additional storage if you really truly need to keep so many versions. You can also choose the draft item security, which is what I was saying before about who should see draft items in the document library. So you can either say any user who can read items, which means everybody who has access to this library will see the draft versions, or we can say only users who can edit or only users can approve items. We can also choose to have the check-in, check-out feature, which can often be useful when edits are taking place to make sure that we don't accidentally overlay each other. Again, if you want any more information on version control, there's a video linked in the description below. The search bar is useless. Now, this to me really does grind my gears because it really isn't. It's just the way that you're storing documents is quite poor. Plus, actually understanding where to search, because a lot of people assume that the search bars are all created equal and they'll all surface the same content regardless of where it lives and regardless of where you search from. That is not true. There are different search bars which are going to bring back to you different content from different areas. So you need to understand where you're searching. Also, making sure that your documents have the right content within them. You can also apply tags to documents, metadata tags, which makes it easier for the search to understand where the content is coming from and what it is. The search results will actually find documents based on their title, as well as the text inside of the documents as well. So sometimes it's actually worth having like a little keywords area of your documents. So say, for example, if it's a human resources policy, you could make sure that in the keywords section of your document, you've put policy, policies, HR, human resources, or a couple of different words or expressions of how someone might find that document. And that'll make it way easier for the search bar to find that results afterwards. Now, so let's start off and look at the different search bars and understand how we can search and what the results will be. Now, if we're searching the very top of an intranet at the hub site, you can see the search bar here says search across sites, as it's going to be searching across our whole intranet, which is multiple sites all linked together from one hub site. By typing something into here, we can search for news articles, files, or individual SharePoint sites. Now, once we get to a site layer, if it's not associated to a hub, you'll see it will say search this site, which means it's only going to be finding content within that site and not the collection of the whole intranet. And then finally, if I just go back into my documents library area, if you're in a document library and you use the search bar, you'll see it says search this library, meaning it's only going to find documents from the document library you're currently looking at. Again, if you want more detail and a training session specifically about how to use the search, there's a link in the description below for more information about how the SharePoint search bar works. As I mentioned, all of the videos that we've covered so far, all the issues we've covered so far, there's links in the description below which will help you understand with a full training session on each of those topics. If you need any professional services or help setting up your SharePoint intranet, there is also a link below to contact me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to my SharePoint channel for more videos going forward. And if you have any questions at all, use a comments feed below. Thank you.